was another tweet that said, the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back to the early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
And president of Turning Point USA, and Candace Owens, Turning Point's communications director. They're in Washington to meet with the president. Welcome to you two. Can I just first ask, what is this event, and what are we going to be seeing the next couple of days here in D.C.?
You know, we had received so much interest over a period of time in this sort of youth black conservative movement, and it felt like we really wanted to harness the power and the opportunity and invite everyone to D.C., first and foremost, to bring them to conservative ideas. A major hurdle that the black community faces is not having the resources to get to different ideas and sort of being locked inside of a bubble.
Yes, being locked inside of a bubble. Once you get people outside of that bubble, then they learn a lot more. They're able to make more relationships, the ones that they never would have taken a step to make. They would have had conversations with someone that they never would have had conversations with because they already had their preconceived notions about these people and never would have given them the time of day. So, yeah, she's absolutely right. And shout out to D.C. too. That's where me and my family are from. Washington, D.C., Southeast D.C. Let's go.
Faces is not having the resources to get to different ideas and sort of being locked inside of a bubble. And having them listen to speakers that they perhaps haven't heard before, Dr. Ben Carson, Larry Elder, people who are routinely mocked in our community. So this is the first ever opportunity to do that in D.C., and we're really excited that it's happening this weekend.
Charlie, what are you hoping that the president gets out of these interactions?
Well, I first want to take a step back and just give Candace Owens credit for changing the national conversation around these issues from a conservative kind of perspective over the last year. When I first met Candace, one of the first things she said is, she said, Charlie, I think we can have a young black leadership summit that can be a lot bigger than any of the pundits or the consultants would ever dream. And I mean, tomorrow, 400 plus young black leaders from across the country. That's an accomplishment that, especially of a conservative, tilt, if you will.
And the number could have been much higher.
And that's right. And so the number could have been higher, and it was the last-minute influx of interest. And
I mean, that's bigger than people want to give credit. Because at the end of the day, people saying, we're all human. Why they keep saying black and white and we're all the same? I don't see color. Well, you need to start. Because we're talking about the real world that we're in. In the real world that we're in, they see color. And when soon as something negative happened in the world, that's when the colors started going against each other. Even more so. And I will say that we were sharing a whole bunch of love. And things was moving in the right direction. But then soon as that young idiot drove all the way to Buffalo and did what he did to black people, that's going to make things tighter than they've been in a long time. And some people just don't want to see us grow and move forward. So at the end of the day, her doing what she's doing to get black people together, get them more educated, I think that's dope.
We had probably 5x that in applicants and in inquiries. But what Candace Owens and our urban engagement director, Brandon Tatum, have done at Turning Point USA to really garner more interest amongst the black community for conservative values, I think it's worth having the conversation, and it's something that, given all the recent news and attention around these issues, I think is something that will be quite interesting tomorrow.
Candace, there's obviously a bit of skepticism. As long as I've been in the game of conservative politics, as long as I've been a conservative, which is probably about sophomore year of high school, there have been conversations about how do conservatives win over more of the black community. There have been some prominent leaders. You mentioned Dr. Ben Carson, others who have come forward and have tried to get this conversation going. What are you seeing that's different now, really? Like, why is it? I mean, to Charlie's point, he's saying that you've changed the conversation. How and why is the conversation different?
Before she say anything, I just wanted to say that I believe that's something that would change the narrative a bit more in the eyes of black African Americans, is if more entertainers start to entertain, more of the people who entertain us start to entertain other thoughts outside of what they've entertained before, and have public conversations with people that we would have been like, never would have gotten close to them and had that conversation with that person. Oh, now I see their side of things. Now I can start listening a little bit more to that information that I wouldn't have heard before, had it not been for somebody that we look at as not necessarily heroes, but definitely bigger than life for the most part because they've achieved so much.
It's funny that you say that because I was able to meet with Dr. Ben Carson early on this year, and we spoke about that. Like, what are the differences? Why are people paying a little more attention now? And I think that, and to his credit, in the past, the conversation was almost so intellectual that it was hard for people to digest and process and to understand. And because the left had won the culture war, it was easy for them to mock them, you know, to see a skit where perhaps Dr. Ben Carson or Dr. Condoleezza Rice are being mocked. And I think I'm a little more of a fighter, definitely in terms of starting my channel on YouTube and wanting it to be colloquial and wanting it to feel familiar, like you were talking to your brother and sister, and sort of taking back some of the turf that was lost on the culture war by making fun of people on the left in the same way that they make fun of us. I think that sort of helped bridge the gap and make people more interested in having the discussion.
Does it bother you that there's no prominent African Americans in the White House itself? Do you think that's important?
Jerron, Dr. Ben Carson's part of the executive branch. That's not true. You know that's not true.
Well, within the White House itself.
Jerron is an executive with Jared Kushner.
my man doubled down on it real quick, and she not even looking at him or nothing. She don't even want him to answer the question. She want her to answer the question. She was like, does it bother you that there's no prominent blacks? And he was like, yes, it is. It's this person right here. This person is a huge person in this right here. And she said, but no, we're not talking about it. He said, yes, it is. It's him. It's Gerard.
Is his role?
He's a DAP, which is a Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States, which is a top tier. So that's not true.
Who are other individuals in the White House?
Well, I want to go back and answer your question. So, one thing that we always speak when we speak to conservatives about is we have to stop believing in this illusion that because somebody is black, they represent my interests. Mm-hmm. We learned that lesson via Barack Obama. I mean, he was in the White House for.
Hey! What you mean we learned that lesson via Barack Obama? You know how I feel about Barack Obama. Don't play with me. Don't play with the Obamas. I'm not playing. Listen. Y'all can talk about whatever y'all want to talk about. But you're not going to talk about the Obamas. Nah, seriously, can you stop talking about the Obamas for me? Just leave that one alone. You can talk about anything else. Just don't talk about the Obamas.
For 8 years and didn't do much for the black community. So I'm not interested in the color of people's skin. So I'm interested in what they do and what they accomplish.
I'm really interested in your perspective here. Yeah. So to you having, like, you don't look at, it is an administration that has more white men than past administrations have had. Yeah, but that doesn't bother you. You don't think that diversity is important?
No, not at all. I think that we have to stop believing that diversity is the color of people's skin, because if you have, like, the Black Caucus, for example, which didn't stand up and applaud when Trump announced that we had the lowest ever unemployment in the black community, that's concerning to me. So a big part of the conversation that we open is in making people understand that's an illusion that the left has sold, that somehow because somebody matches my skin color, because somebody matches my gender, they have my best interests at heart. And that
That's a mic drop right there. It's a mic drop right there. Young lady that's asking me these questions. First of all, you don't frazzle me. I'm smarter than you. Okay, relax. You keep trying to start something, I'm keep on busting you in the mouth with mic drops. Period. All right. Just because somebody is not my race, just because somebody is my race and my gender, does not mean they have my best interests at heart. We need to put that on a T-shirt. I need to put that on. Matter of fact, I might put that on a T-shirt. If nobody do it before me, I'm gonna put that bad boy on a T-shirt, be wearing that right here in front of y'all. Y'all gonna be like, man, I'm definitely gonna subscribe to that right there. I'm definitely gonna hit the super thanks for that right there, because that brother knows what he's doing, Jack. Yeah, that was a good line right there.
That is completely fallacious.
I have to ask about Kanye. You two have been seen, photographed with, spend time with Kanye. I got a tremendous, we have to speak about him on the show, got a tremendous amount of attention from the media from a recent meeting in the Oval Office. How does he factor? Look, I feel like conservatives play this game that we go back and forth. If anybody who's famous starts talking in any way that conservatives like, we embrace them right away, and then sometimes we feel like we get burned later. They're not as conservative as we thought. Kanye has such a huge megaphone. He's obviously somewhat of a controversial figure as well, based on what he said in the past. Charlie, just to start with you, how does he play into all this other than, I want to hear from both of you on this, but how does he play into all this other than just getting a lot of attention? You know what I mean? How is he changing the conversation?
I'll be the first one to admit, I was your typical macroeconomic loving kind of conservative individual that wasn't part of the culture that,
You got a high paperback in your bag.
I know what I mean. I became a conservative based on reading Free to Choose and Ludwig von Mises. And I think it's amazing that someone like Kanye West is broadening the conversation. And it was Candace that opened my eyes to this. And
Kanye West pissed off a lot of black people, I'm going to tell you that much. When Kanye West went and put on a MAGA hat and became friends with, see, that's the crazy thing. Him and a lot of other entertainers are already friends with him. So it was just when he ran for Republican presidency and everything and won, you know what I mean? There's a lot of black people that was beefing with him because of that. So at the end of the day, man, we already know what it is. But he did make people look more into it. And that's what I was saying earlier today. If it's somebody that entertains us, somebody that we look up to as they got out, they succeeded, they're doing something bigger than we could have ever dreamed of. You know what? Sometimes it takes that type of, I don't know, that, like, I don't care what anybody say. I'm going to do whatever I want to do because I feel like it's best for me and my family. That right there changes the narrative. Like, and I said it before in my other videos, and some of you are probably tired of hearing me say it, but it's part of my story now. That a lot of people don't like me checking out Candace Owens. A lot of people don't like me checking out Thomas Sowell. Don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. When our mules, what is it, 2,000 mules? Nah, shout out to Dr. DeSouza. But y'all know what I'm talking about.
And I wasn't that I was resistant, but I was like, really, Candace? Like, wait, what do you mean that we can? She said, no, you don't understand. From one of the first times I met Candace said, Charlie, Kanye West can change the national conversation on these issues, and I think that he's more of a Trump supporter than people gave credit. In fact, Candace is on record with our friend Dave Rubin saying this back in September.
A lot of people are more of a Trump supporter than they give credit. They just sneak about it. They think he's hilarious. They love the fact that he tells it like it is. He says whatever's on his mind, and he's not all politician, snooty booty, tight suit. I gotta do things the way everybody else is doing things in Washington. He don't do things like that. And a lot of people sneak and support that guy. They sneak because they know that if they do it publicly, they're gonna be looked at as. Nobody wants to be judged. I'm just going to say that.
November of 2017, kind of predicting the Kanye movement, I guess you could say.
the Kanye movement.
Kanye movement, yeah.
I'm going to use that word, and I think that's true.
I've sort of followed Kanye's career for a very long time, so when I was asked that question of who I admire, I said Kanye West because he's always been, long before Donald Trump came down the escalator, it was Kanye West that's been the battering ram against political correctness, and I knew that someone with his personality wasn't going to be able to exist comfortably on the left anymore because we are now being told what to think, how we have to think, who we have to love, who we have to hate, and that's not comfortable for anybody that's an artist, and their stranglehold on culture is really what Kanye is sort of taking a stab at. Now, I want to be clear, based off of my conversations with him, he's not a Republican, you know, and I think that that's an important thing to distinguish and to make clear, distinction to make, because in many ways I've said I'm not a Republican either, but he is a free thinker and he values ideas, and unfortunately, if you believe in the ability to think and to have a dialogue, that is a position that's on the right today.
Now, someone wrote me a really long message on my Instagram yesterday, and they said that you all, if I was believing anything that the left says, you all will call me racist, you will call me a bigot, you will call me un-American, unpatriotic. But as soon as I start to believe what you tell me to believe, you will call me a free thinker. That's what a lot of people, well, that's what this one really long message has said when somebody left the channel again trying to be petty. You know how I am. I tell people you don't have to write me no letter. You don't have to quit the channel or any of that. Just go ahead. You know what I mean? I appreciate your support while you were here. You know what I mean? When you leave, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, just like you don't want to be bullied to believe nothing, I'm not about to be bullied to believe anything. I'm not about to be bullied to not believe anything. I'm going to look into whatever I think will create a more positive and better society for my own family. Then that's what I'm looking into. And all the negativity that come along with it, I care less about it. As long as nobody there gonna try to touch me, harm my family, you Gucci, man. Let's all spread love. How about that? How about that, man? Let's all spread love.
If you believe in the ability to think and to have a dialogue, that is a position that's on the right today.
So Candace, I do want to ask you about news of the day. Obviously, we have all these explosive devices that have been sent to prominent critics of this administration.
Right.
And in a tweet, you originally said you thought there was 0 chance conservatives sent bombs. I think you took that tweet down.
Yeah.
But you later added, it isn't conservatives that are chasing people down in offices and restaurants. It isn't conservatives that have weaponized sexual assault as a means to political gain. I stand by my opinion that when it comes to political violence, the left is the likely culprit.
That's correct. So we've seen that.
So you think that it was the left or Democrats who sent
well,
these spike bombs?
I think we're all entitled to have an opinion. We don't have any facts surrounding this, and Twitter is a venue where you're allowed to express your opinions and beliefs. And
but just to be clear, so that's not based on any facts. That's just your
Of course, it couldn't possibly be based on facts. We don't have any evidence other than the fact that they're investigating it. But
I'll come to Candace's.
I do want to finish this by just saying that it is my belief, when you take a look at the conversation, the things that have gone on, and the increasing violence that's gone on, it has purely been a leftist tactic to stall things, delay the administration, and to fearmonger. So, as a matter of opinion, I do believe that when we get to the resolution, the bottom of this, and we do have facts, we're going to say that this is orchestrated by the left, but by no means is that opinion rooted in any proof, because we don't have anything yet to go off of.
I could certainly point to Charlottesville. I could point to other acts that happened. I could point to Dylan Roof. I mean, there's certainly acts of violence that have come from
But do you see how far back you have to go to do that?
Charlottesville?
That's literally starting at the beginning of his administration. Look at all of the things that have gone on.
I don't want to have this debate because ugliness can come from both sides.
No, I'm just saying that you brought it up.
I do want to ask you, though.
Just answering the question.
I mean,
listen, how do you, young lady, what's her name? Crystal? Is this Crystal Ball? Huh? It was just one lady who was doing commentary on something. I think she was doing it on MSNBC. And I was like, who is that? Lady, you the one asked her about, what about Dylan Roof? What about Dylan Roof? And then when she ready to give you the business, you talking about, I don't want to debate about this because it could get ugly on both sides. Listen, if you start a debate and then you start if you start anything and you start getting your butt handed to you, it's on. It's already up. If it's up already. So now you got to finish it. You got to, it's time to get busy. Bow, bow, bow. It's time to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? You can't, you seem like you're winning now, so let me go ahead and change the question. No, you can't do that.
From both sides.
No, I'm just saying that you brought it up.
But I do want to ask you, though.
Just answering the question.
I mean, you've got a big platform.
I do.
Right? And you have a powerful voice.
Thank you.
And kudos to you for creating that.
Thank you.
How do you view the responsibility that comes with that?
I view the responsibility of just being a person that maintains my ability to have an opinion, that I express an opinion, and no means that I say that I have just found the facts and this is related.
Yeah.
And I always reserve the right.
You said there's 0% chance.
Yeah. I said I'm going to go out and say that there is a 0% chance that this was sent by conservatives. I find all the things that are going on, the caravan of illegals, the packages that are being sent, Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation.
And just to clarify, you think the caravan too was organized by Democrats?
I find it to be incredibly suspicious timing, so that they are meant to get to the border on the day of the election. Again, this is not rooted in fact, but you do have to understand I am very much entitled to my opinion, and Twitter is my platform.
Candace, I have one more.
Just one more here, because I wanted to get to know you before you came on. And I'm really interested in your perspective because I think you're a fascinating person.
You're not, because you're asking her a question, and then when she starts to answer the question, you start over talking her because she's not answering the way that you want her to answer. And she's maintaining her cool, and that's bothering you. That's bothering you. You have a few other gotcha questions that you think you're going to get her with, and you want to throw them things that are bad. You won't even let your daggone host, what's his name, Buck? You won't even let him get a daggone word in. You won't let him get a word in. Buck and the other gentlemen that are there, they're just there. They're there for that decoration at this point. You are there to start an argument with Candace, and you know it. And you also know that you're losing. And you also know that you was being condescending by giving her a shout out and bigging her up and congratulating her about her success of growing a following and all this other stuff, because then you're going to shoot her with, do you think that you have a responsibility to, she has a responsibility to say the right thing. I mean, to at least not lie to or mislead her people and that follow her and everything. But you got to consider too, you are a big piece, a big mouthpiece for a huge conglomerate that don't really care if they're responsible for the information that goes out. They don't really care if they are misleading. They don't really care if they're outright lying, as long as they get what they want. So yeah, she has a responsibility, just like you got a responsibility. You got to consider all that when you go into conversations that turn to a debate that you end up losing, and now you're trying to weasel your way up out of it.
I wanted to get to know you before you came on. And I'm really interested in your perspective because I think you're a fascinating person.
Thank you.
There was another tweet that said, the Democratic Party is comprised of racist white liberals.
That is correct.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back.
Yes.
And let's say, I will say this, that many people
Yes,
in the
you
party
are.
are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned?
You're not racist, but people are starting to show me stuff, and I'm starting to react to stuff that's making me think that, so the racists have always been the white liberals the whole time.
Am I a racist white liberal?
Well, let's go back. And let's say, I will say this, that many people in the party are not aware of their own racism. Let's go back to an early part of this conversation where you said to me, are you concerned about the color in the White House? Why would you ask me that question?
Because you...
Oh, she asked you. That was a good question. She asked that question because she's saying that that was just her being racist. That was her being racist. So this young lady, man, I swear to goodness, she's killing my popularity. Candace is. I'm talking about amongst the black folks. She's killing my black vote. She's killing my my invitations to the black cookout, which is cool. I'm learning, and I'm becoming better and all that. But she dug back in her mental bag when the lady asked her that question, and she said, "Oh, you asking me about white liberals being racist? Pow! What about when you asked me this? Huh? That was kind of racist. No, you don't think so? Let me hear you weasel yourself out of that one."
About the color in the White House. Why would you ask me that question?
Because you speak about black issues.
No, but why would you ask me? But let's get to really the nucleus of this. Why did you ask me that question today?
Because
why did you feel that I needed to be concerned about that?
Because you're bringing a whole group of young African American leaders to the White House.
Okay, so this is something that I talk about often, is that in many ways white liberals don't realize that you put on that the racism and the conversations that we have.
So you're saying I'm a racist.
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay, the emphasis that you place is.
She's so damn smooth, man. You didn't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off. She's not raising her voice. She's not breaking her smile. She is showing all of her pearly whites.
You haven't let me finish my statement. You keep cutting me off.
Go ahead.
Okay? The emphasis that you place is always on having a discussion about race. Okay? You guys are insistent on having a conversation about race and telling us that we should see, and implying that we should see race everywhere, and I don't agree with that. If you don't look at me according to the color of my skin, you would simply ask me how I thought that Trump was doing as a president. But instead, you try to drum up a conversation that's surrounded by race by asking me, are there enough black people in the White House?
You're bringing a whole group of young black leaders to the White House.
You see color, I don't.
That's something that's important to you.
But why are you talking about...
Then why make it that you're going to bring young black leaders to the White House? I mean, this is sort of absurd.
Because the media, as in the whole...
This is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
Hey, can you ask her a question and allow her to answer it? Crystal, please relax. Let her answer. All right? She's also a part of the conversation. Can she be a part of the conversation, please?
And this is sort of absurd.
Because the media, as in the whole...
This is absurd. You're bringing this group to the White House.
It's not absurd. I'm making perfect sense.
I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear.
I'm trying to be extremely clear with you.
I know.
Bringing the black conservatives to the White House.
Me as a racist white liberal.
That you're not. First off, you put those words in my mouth, and you keep saying it. So I'm not. I said that the Democrat Party is comprised of racist white liberals. Is every person in the party racist? No, but you're not aware of the fact that you put these racist tones out into the media. This is why we have to bring the black conservatives to the president, because you create a narrative when you're on TV like you did today.
Are you comfortable with the fact that I'm going to have you on radio later because I have questions for you as well. But we actually have to get out of the segment now.
Language is helpful, though. I mean, just in terms of the national conversation.
Well, I could ask you, do you think it's helpful to ask me, just because I'm a black woman, if I'm comfortable with the amount of color that's on the administration? Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and interesting to know your...
Oh my gracious, he tear you up. Listen, Slim, back away. You are not ready for this fight. Huh? You not ready for this fight. You ain't been in the gym as much as she has been in the gym. The gym is the books. She stays in the books. She stay building relationships with people who know, people who are, their IQ is through the freaking roof. And she has conversations with these people all the time. A great deal of what she does is intellectual. Relax. Don't sit there and they're going to do this with her. You're not looking good. You're not looking good. You're getting caught with a left and a right and an uppercut and another hook, a rabbit punch when the daggone ref not looking. Huh? Relax. Relax, Crystal. She's tearing you up, man.
Amount of color that's on the administration. Do you think that that's helpful?
I think it's helpful and interesting to know your perspective.
It's not. It's you just trying to create an undertone that Donald Trump is racist, and it's wrong.
Yeah. Okay.
But listen, to me is the reason why.
Listen, no.
I just want to say.
You're looking at me on the basis of my skin color and making a bunch of, making a bunch of deductions. I did not remember you said that. You can run the tape back.
I want to say, look, here's what I want to say.
You quoted a tweet and then you made it about
I
you.
appreciate.
So you were not added, but you were not added in that tweet. So do not say that I called you that because that's dishonest. And we are on TV. So you can run.
Racist.
Okay, so I did not call you a racist. You're using the typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not what I want to say.
No, but
Ooh, you're using the typical leftist tactic of making yourself the victim. This is a nice fight right here. I don't care what y'all say. This is a good one. This is a good fight. It's really not a good fight because Candace is just handling her with so much poise and perfect posture. She's just looking at her and smiling and just tearing her tail up, man. She's like, and she's not yelling or nothing. She's just like, I'm just going to go ahead and keep on telling you if you need for me to match your volume, I'll just go up just a little bit and I'm come back right, just a little decimal, then I'm gonna come right back down. But I'm just letting you know that what you saying ain't tipping no mountains over here. This is daggone an iceberg. You only see the tip of it. When you swim down lower, you're gonna see how vast the information is that I have in my head, son. You don't want none of this. Walk away while you can, Crystal.
Typical leftist tactic of trying to make yourself a victim, which is not what I want to say.
No, but we're actually well beyond time.
Well, she's making herself a victim and pretending that I came here and called her racist. So this is a typical leftist tactic.
That we not demonize our opponents.
And I think it's important that you not demonize my president.
And one thing that I try very hard to do is to criticize the policies and criticize people who are in positions of power.
And I'm not sure how you were doing that by pointing out the color in the administration.
But not to criticize the people who support the president.
You literally spoke about
That's something I try very hard to do.
But you're not doing a very good job of it.
And I think it's really important.
I think it's really important that you be aware that just because I'm a black woman, you don't need to ask me a question as basic enough as saying how much color is in the administration.
It's a problem to demonize our fellow Americans?
I think what's problematic is that you are creating a simulation that is dishonest, that is accusing our president of being racist based off of the color of the people that are in the... That's exactly what you asked me a question. That's what you implied.
Okay, I actually really appreciate you two coming in very much. And I look forward to getting to ask you some questions of my own at some point later on. And we're going to have to end the segment there. But thank you, and good luck at the White House today, and thank you for bringing...
My man threw in the towel. He said, throw in the towel. Throw in the damn towel. Hey, what's that, Rocky? Which Rocky was that, man? Well, I forgot what Rocky that was. He said, throw in the towel. I don't know if it was Apollo Creed that was getting his tail whooped or if it was Rocky that was getting his tail whooped. But one of them needed the towel thrown in because they was in, probably was the Russian that was beating them up at the time. Oh man, that was good. But I do want to hear what y'all guys say about this in the comments below. And if you have yet to hit that subscribe button or the super thanks button, please make sure you do so on your way out the door. Once again, guys, I'm Van, and now we are all the LFR family. And I look forward to seeing you on the next video and hopefully inside the Patreon as well, man. Y'all have been amazing per usual. Love y'all. Bye.